So we're going to talk about something today that's probably something you don't think about a lot, because in hockey or whatever sport you're in, you're busting your ass every time trying to be great. You work on skill, get in the gym. But when was the last time you worked on character? When was the last time you cared about character? It seems ridiculous. It seems like an old person term telling you, do good. It's not that. It's bigger than that. Try to be on a team where guys don't have character. Try to be on a team where everybody's trying to get an ESPN highlight reel and doesn't care. It's toxic. It's terrible. And when things are down, nobody's encouraging anybody. That's what a lack of character is. Do you want that?
Yeah, and it's been often said by many great coaches that talent sets the floor and your character establishes your ceiling.
The difference between somebody who's technically amazing and somebody who's technically amazing with character is everything. It's what every coach wants.
And for today's episode, we're going to talk about how character can be used to maximize your overall game.
And if you're trying to get to the top of this mountain, which every one of you guys is trying to get there, every girl, every guy who's got a dream, you're trying to get to the top of this mountain, how can you possibly get there without being the kind of person who brings your whole team up?
So I'll kind of bring the picture to light. Natalie, when you're building a house, which by the way, construction management was my major in college, and I quickly diverted because I knew it wasn't good. But I do know the very first thing that happens when you build a house is that you pour the foundation once you have your plans in place. Okay. So you pour this cement slab as your foundation. That's kind of what goes on in tryouts right now. That represents what a coach looks at in a tryout. That's the talent that they look for. Okay. But let me ask you a question. Do you know what the end result of that structure will be just looking at the floor? The cement.
Well, it's just a piece of cement. You got to put a wall.
Right. Do you know how tall it's going to be?
Isn't it usually like 8 to 10 feet? No? Oh, okay. I'm talking about an actual house.
Yeah, I'm talking about a house too, but you don't know if it's a ranch. You don't know if it's two stories. You don't know if it's just a shed.
Very good point.
You don't know any of this, right? So that's really where this time of year we're at tryouts. Coaches are trying to pick teams, and they see number 12 in orange buzzing around the ice, and they say, yep, tons of talent. But then they have no idea on the next layer of what his true potential is based on what we just discussed, his character.
Absolutely.
That makes sense. So just to define this a little bit more, it's not just giving a crap about other people. It's giving a crap about who you are. It's giving a crap about showing up. It's finding a way that every day, even when you don't really want to do it, you still show up. Just imagine being a coach. Imagine being a GM of a team. Who do you want to have on your team? You want talented guys. You want guys who are good. You want people who are skilled. But what you really want is somebody who's the same person who shows up every single time. You don't want somebody to be showing up one day and then another day they're a different person. How can a coach trust, especially in high pressure situations, somebody who doesn't have the character to have consistency of effort? You can't guarantee great gameplay, but you can guarantee consistency of effort. And that's one of the big parts of character. You're doing all the right things and trying to do all the right things every time, because being that is predictable and allows a coach to trust you.
Yeah, I think one way that the predictability comes is kind of 3 layers to that. There can be many more, I think, that you can throw in there under the character kind of realm, but you look at humility and the ability to kind of take your ego out of it. I always look at the ability to persevere, show that grit and resilience. And then lastly, the big one, we've discussed it before, is that coachability. Are you someone who's always kind of defensive every time you get feedback, or do you absorb that and then really internalize it and then try to provide a better output? So humility, perseverance, coachability can be really 3 key pieces to building your own character.
I look at a guy like Crosby. Crosby, to me, is such a character guy. I mean, one, just at the top, willing to take less money just to stay with the program, caring about his guys. The guy's just relentless. Even when he feels bad, he's just workhorse. That's another part of character. This guy just shows up even when he feels like crap. You see this, and you can see it a mile away. And yeah, it's great to have some guy who can score like crazy, and certainly Crosby's one of those guys. But it isn't amazing he's had this long career, and he's so well respected across the board, not just because he's amazing, because he's an amazing human. He actually gives a crap. He's actually a guy who's completely dialed in, but not just dialed in about winning, but dialed in about just bringing everybody with him. There is something about bringing everybody with you.
And sometimes you get kind of a sense of people's character, and you might not think this, at the time, but you start to realize that they're probably someone, if you believe someone has high character, there's someone who, even when they're not with you, they're probably doing the right thing over and over and over. And that's kind of the way I define it. Those are the people that you want to be around. Sometimes you can't really describe it, but you just know, yes, they positively impact me. They probably do the right thing on a very consistent basis.
A team that's toxic, you can feel it. In my senior year in high school, this was a terrible team. We talked about this before. A guy literally goes to the bathroom in my shoe, a shoe that I went and mowed lawns and tried to make money on my own to have this thing. It's toxic. We were a great team. We were one of the best teams that's ever been in the state of Florida, but it didn't matter because we just didn't get along. It was horrible. It was a cancer for the whole program. But let me just mention, it's got to be really hard. I'm going to look at the camera for the guys on YouTube. It's got to be really hard for you hearing me talk about this, hear us talk about this, because you got your plate full. Seriously, hockey feels like it's year round. It feels like there's never a break. You got to get to this thing. And spring, I got to do this. And then I got to do that. And this giant FOMO, anxiety, worry, man, I want to do this. I want to do this. And it sucks. It's a lot for you to handle. Now I'm throwing this other thing on your plate. We're not trying to throw this thing on your plate as a, you need to do this. We're trying to tell you that you can keep busting your butt and go in this direction and handle all this overwhelm. But in the end, people are going to make decisions about you unless you're so freakishly amazing that you score so many points that you can get away with being kind of a jerk. People are going to want you to be part of a cohesive team, a person who lifts people up, a person who can help them move forward. And if you can't do that, if you're toxic enough, there are coaches that get rid of toxic people. It happens all the time. And I'm not trying to scare you with this because I know you have all this stuff weighing on you. But it's not that hard to give a crap about other people. You probably have a best friend you care about. You got a mom and dad you care about. Bring that into your team. Care about one person, and that's the start of character. That's the start of you building something where you're a guy who's relied upon. I swear it makes a gigantic difference. You see it everywhere.
So, Nat, did you ever have like a teammate that everyone knew was kind of the toxic one? In hockey terms, we call them the cancer because obviously it's like the unwanted thing on the team. But did you ever
I
have
could say every year there's at least one.
Yeah.
Crapped in her skate.
Yeah. No.
Didn't happen to me.
Did they survive? Like, did the coach ever let them go, or did they kind of just keep infiltrating the locker room with negativity?
They either got cut or transferred.
Yeah, I think the highest coaches at the highest levels, similar experiences. Like the coaches tend to have that pulse, and they know that a lot of times those players and athletes do it to themselves. They're the ones who kind of fail out at Christmas time or, magically just don't come back after a certain break period. Like those are the ones that they just know they're not a good fit. And
Absolutely.
Sometimes they're the only way they know how to fit in is to kind of just continue to be a nuisance to the team. And then eventually the best coaches let them go.
Mm-hmm. Right. It catches up to them some way or another. I mean, if it doesn't catch up to them in sports, it'll catch up to them once they graduate, because you can be toxic in a sports environment, but your character is really going to show once you get into the real world. Yeah.
And this, like I'm around our athletes every day at some of the various organizations we're hired to work with, coaching or mentoring. And I've been asked frequently from coaches, or whether they're players or goalies at various levels, they'll contact me and their first question is, how is so-and-so as a person or player? And there was someone this year, USHL coach called me and I said, stay away.
Run far away.
Run far away. Don't even ask again.
Yeah.
And happened this year. Can't tell you who it is, but unfortunately that person's going to miss out on an opportunity next year. All because their character is pretty visible to see. They're not doing the right things all the time. They're not working hard on their own. They're not positively impacting the environment.
And now a message from our sponsor.
Success in sports isn't an accident. It comes from habits and your internal self-belief. I'm Jeff Lerg, host of this podcast. If you're currently a high school athlete, congratulations, you've made it to the small percentage of athletes who make it into the high school age at a competitive level. Do you want to be that 2% that actually makes it to earn a scholarship at the NCAA level? Well, that's the reason that we created the Dialed and Driven Success Formula to instill discipline, excellence, and a results-oriented mindset. To learn more, visit dialedandrivenmentality.com.
It's so easy as a coach to not have any character, right? Just to be ruthless, be the person who's just trying to win in that season, get as many good guys as you can, make promises you can't keep. And it's cancer for those kids Kids do not perform great long-term under fear. They don't perform great. Nobody performs great under duress all the time. And there's a thing, tests and measurements in college, where they say when a teacher puts out a test or a professor gives out a test, if a few kids do bad, it's on them. But if everybody does bad, it's on the instructor. Same thing with a coach. If you have a couple kids do bad, it's on them. But if everybody does bad, it's on the coach. It's horrible to lack the kind of character that can bring people up. And the coaching level can dictate so much of that. It can dictate the culture.
Well, tell that to my chemistry professor when I was a freshman in college. Everybody got 40s on the exam in a giant lecture hall, and he didn't care. He says it happens every year. He said, sir, something's wrong.
Your system's not correct.
Absolutely.
No, but I think that's really where you can, as a leader, as a coach, you can start to see, like, when things get hard, do the people that you're mentoring or coaching, do they rise up to the challenge when things get hard? If they do, then you can kind of have that as the barometer. You've done a good job. Do they perform the right things consistently on a day-to-day basis? So I'll give you another small story around the rink I'm at every day. Like, I couldn't, it's just too big of an anomaly to not bring it up. One of the locker rooms of the teams, okay, it's a complete disaster. It's just a mess. Tape balls, sticks, skates, just jerseys on the floor, complete mess. On the whiteboard, there's only one word written: discipline. It's like, come on, like that's what, so where does it start? Is it, the coach or the players? But it's like, this is the biggest anomaly I've ever seen. Like, yeah, discipline, guys. This is exactly what you guys are showing. So it's just, you can talk the talk, but who can walk the walk? That's really the difference with high character athletes.
Do you want to talk about athletes?
Did either of you watch the women's national championship basketball, college basketball?
I did not. I'm sorry, Jeff.
I'm a big fan again. I'm telling you, I'm on the every sport bandwagon here. It's been super fun. So I was watching this. It was a final between kind of two perennial teams that are frequently there. It was South Carolina, who won it previously, like 3 out of 5 years. They've been on a roll. And then UCLA, who's never won one. Okay, they never won a championship in the women's college basketball. So tons of storylines. Many of them I want to bring up, but I'll first start with my dialed-in athlete. She led the game in points. Gabriela Jaquez is how you say it. She is a senior for UCLA. So the story on her was awesome. I got to kind of know her during her post-game interview because she wins her first championship, the school's first championship, something they were working to kind of set a goal out to accomplish. And then this interviewer asks her questions like, oh, what does this moment mean to you? And she's literally goes through it. I dreamt of this as a kid. I wrote this down when I was in 3rd grade. I set the goal to play college basketball at UCLA. I dreamt of this moment, what it would feel like before the game. I dreamt of being covered with confetti. I dreamt of the feeling of doing this. I can't believe it finally happened. Like, amazing to just kind of hear her go through this because like, that's why we do it. And then secondly, the other kind of interesting storyline of this is that whole team was the main players were all seniors. So in the semifinals and the finals, every point scored in those games was by a senior. So like that's why, like, when I heard that stat before the game, I was like, they got to win.
Yeah.
Like, this is too good to be true. They're kind of last go at it. Like, they're all kind of rallied. They've been good for years. And then to put it kind of the cherry on top, that coach had been there for 15 years, no championship under her belt. So it was like kind of the perfect story of sports that, triumphant overcoming. And then they all kind of can go out in a blaze of glory that they won their last game and won the championship. So dialed in athlete / team, but Gabriela Jaquez, she had a big game, and I think we'll see WNBA and beyond. We'll see. But anyways, that was my kind of recollection on how impactful character can be. That during those years of coming up short, that perseverance, that resiliency, that ability to kind of keep showing up, bringing their best, I'm sure that was a big part of their success for UCLA women's basketball.
Yeah, that's awesome. Such a wholesome story. I actually really liked that one.
That's good. Thank you. Yeah.
Now we're going to have you guys answer our questions that our listeners write in. So first, this question reads, I'm told I need to mature by my coach. What does that mean?
You're probably a distraction, first and foremost, to the kids around you. And sometimes we know that the teenagers in particular, they need somewhere to kind of exert their kind of goofy energy that's going on with them. And sometimes they're like, oh, I should just be the goof off kid because that's how I fit in best and I want to get attention. So first and foremost, first thing you can do if you're being told by your coach mature is to try to be more of a fly on the wall and bring less attention to yourself.
Sometimes it's a coach who's impatient and can't communicate. Honestly, sometimes it's just a coach saying you're immature, but you're not being immature. You're just not doing what the coach wants. So honestly, there's the bad side of that. But then there's the good side. And the good side is saying you're not mature means that you, for whatever reason, aren't doing the things that align with where you're trying to go. Mostly coaches get pissed when they're trying to go in a certain direction and they have to herd cattle, herd kittens, whatever that thing is hard. And you're a kid, you're trying to enjoy your life and you're goofing off and you should do that. But there's a time and a place for each of these things. And I think the maturity is knowing when you should have the switch turned on and knowing when you're allowed to take your foot off the gas. And if you don't figure those things out, you're just going to piss off your coach. You're going to piss off your team. And if you can't be there in practice, you're not practicing that turning the switch on for games. And it's really, really important because there's no way in a game you're going to magically become great. It really starts in practice, and the maturity is being able to turn those switches on.
Yeah, awesome answers. Our second question reads, how do I stay consistent with training?
Wow. Well, in various ways, we've brought this up, and we talked recently on your phone, how to use it to your advantage. And I recommended your lock screen. What do you look at when you frequently pick up your phone? And I suggested put something there that what you're aspiring to get to, your level of play in the future. So hopefully one of the many times you pick up your phone, you're looking at it every day, that will be kind of a reminder. But secondly, it has to mean something for you. Like if it doesn't mean enough, you're not going to do it. That's the ugly truth of it. And once it means a lot, you'll start to find yourself doing it more.
Yeah. And I think the truth is nobody can be 100% consistent. Even if you show up. Some days something happened with your mom, with your dad, you're sick, your dog's in the vet, whatever the thing is. There's distractions all over the place that don't allow us to bring everything. So for one, like Jeff said, you got to have a compelling reason. Do you really want this? Because honestly, it's so much work and so much sacrifice. And who wants to really go through that for something they don't really want? But if you really want this end goal, if you really want this top of the mountain, you have to decide, if I really, really want this, then here are the steps. I have to do things other people won't do, which means I have to do this every single day. Show up, including showing up for rest. On a rest day, show up for rest. Allow yourself to get better. Allow yourself to take it easy. That, to me, is the answer.
Yeah, great job, guys. Those were great answers for both of those questions. And listeners, if you'd like to leave us a question for us to answer on our next episode, please visit our website, dialthedrivenmentality.com.
You have a chance all the time. I keep saying you got a chance to have this life. I'm going to say it forever because you do. It's all white space. You hold all the crayons. You can do whatever you want with your life. But everybody else has crayons and paper too. They can draw on yours. They can tear yours up, trample all over it. You have choice all the time. What do you want to do with these choices? But I want to promise you, like we talk about all the time, finding the things that are necessary to get where you want to go and doing those things, that's how you get what you want. That's how you have the best chance of getting what you want. There's no guarantees. You can do everything and have an injury someday. But to have the best chance of getting what you want, all these pieces of the puzzle matter. And the puzzle piece today is this idea of character, which again seems like a foreign language. We have iPhones, me, iPads, me. I understand. If it's only about if it's only about you, if it's only about what you care about, you're not going to get where you want to get unless somehow you're so freakishly talented that you can stop every puck, or so freakishly talented that you score so many goals, people don't mind that you're kind of an ass. But most people want people around them that give a crap about them, that pick them up when they fall down, that show up and do the work, even when they don't feel good. That integrity, that character changes everything.
You hit the nail on the head, Chris. It's the character changes everything. Really, that was the whole point of this discussion is, again, the talent will set the floor, the character will establish your ceiling. And trust me, as someone who had to live off being high character, that's what took me into playing for the many, many years. I had to have that as kind of my MO. And I think one funny story is the way that I kind of survived when I was at that teenage boy age range, that coaches, they use this in the male athlete world, male coaches that are coaching male teenagers, they kind of use the rule of thumb of like, would I allow that kid to date my daughter? And that's kind of the test. And I had that compliment come my way from my junior coach. It's like, you passed my test.
Yeah, that's a TikTok trend actually too.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, good. And as a reminder to our listeners, you get to hear us, our interactions here for hopefully some inspiration and education on a weekly basis. But if you're looking to work with us in a more detailed manner, you can always reach out to us on our website. We have a little chat function there, whether it's Chris's expertise in the mental performance space or my expertise in the overall mentoring of an athlete, whether it's a goaltender and beyond. You can reach out to us on our website. And as one final reminder, stay dialed and driven on your goals, as that's the only way to accomplish success.
And that concludes today's episode. Thank you so much for listening. If you like what you heard, please give us a like, leave us a review, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. But most importantly, we would love for you to sign up to our free newsletter. Visit our website, Dialed and Driven Mentality. See you next week.